hearing and seeing my oldest, or hearing my oldest seeing and hearing my oldest sister sing when I was very young. That's one of my favorite memories. Famous.
How about you, Noda?
Well, I remember one morning when Art was about 2. We had to chase him down the street because he had the habit of getting up and running, and he didn't have any clothes on.
Some things never change.
Grab him.
Georgia said the same thing last month.
How about you, Laird?
Memories?
Yeah, a favorite memory or a memory that comes to mind.
Oh, I have a few memories. I don't know if they should be considered favorite memories, I'll talk about Eola first. I have a real vivid memory of Eola when I was very young. She was standing at the top of the stairs and I was standing at the bottom of the stairs. And she was throwing things at me. She was throwing things at me. And apparently she had a collection of paper dolls, and I'd cut all the heads off of the paper dolls. And she was very upset at me.
She never forgave you.
Constantly brought it up.
I have heard this story many times. One off. Pretty quick, she didn't have any paper dolls.
Well, but she took all my scrapbook, tore out all the pictures with her.
Actually, you're sort of lucky, Laird, is here, because when I was maybe 12 or 13, I had a big boil on my butt. Very sore boil on my butt.
We're getting this on
I
video.
could sit. One thing I could do is lay on my stomach. And I was in the backyard one day, sunning myself,
Get
and
rid
guess
of the
who
boil.
came along and hit me on the butt? Right on that boil. And it was, that's where he learned to run so fast. If I'd have caught him, I'd have killed him. But the interesting thing is it broke the boil. It got better.
Magic touch.
How about you, Mom?
Okay, what I remember, that's something I remember about all my siblings, but the thing that comes to mind when I think of Nola Bell, I think of cheese.
Oh, my goodness.
Cheese, because at her house, she had a block of challenge cheese that had the wax around it, and it was mild cheese. And it was the first time that I realized I liked cheese, because when I was growing up, my parents ate sharp cheese, and I thought I didn't like cheese. And I went to their house, and they had this mild cheddar cheese that I absolutely loved, so I think about that. My brothers, I think about the fact that they always tricked me, because they'd say, "Oh, Jana, come and scratch my back, scratch my back." And they'd lay in bed and they'd say, "I'll scratch your back, you scratch my back." And then they'd pretend they were asleep. And I'd hit them and bang them, and they'd just lay there like they were asleep.
I kind of remember that.
Yeah, so that's what I, remember about that.
Okay, I'll tell you another story about art.
I have to tell them about Mavis, though. The thing I think about Mavis was oatmeal cookies. Oatmeal cookies that's what I think about with Mavis. She had a whole drawer full of oatmeal cookies.
Okay, my story about Art. He's 9 years older than I am. So when I got to high school, we had continuation of football coaches and baseball coaches and golf coaches and all those kind of folks. Same people that coached him 9 years earlier.
That was just Coach Budge.
And that's
Coach Budge,
Budge.
Coach Budge,
Yeah,
Coach Budge.
Coach Budge. You know, Coach Budge. That's probably true kind of stuff.
Coach Bartlett.
Well, Coach Budge never called me the right name. He always called me Art. Art. I said to him one day, "Why are you always calling me Art?" He says, "I just keep hoping that you'd be as good an athlete as your brother."
He was just teasing him because he was better.
That's not true.
I remember listening to the radio and listening for Arthur's name on as they broadcast the radio, the basketball games.
Have you ever stolen something from one of your siblings that you remember? or would admit to?
Or admit to. Probably not. Our siblings were so far apart, we didn't have a lot of interests in common.
I know when the oldest was, I think. But
Yeah,
it was, yeah, it was very vivid memory. She was probably about 6, maybe littler than that even. And she and her friend went down to the store and got a candy bar and came home and with it. And Mother said, well, now we'll have to take this back. And she made her go back, and it was just really funny because Eola had stolen it before and had put it in the drawer, and then Mother, I guess, found it, but anyway, she had to go back and take it back to the store and pay for it.
That's the same experience that happened to me about 5 years later. I stole a candy bar from the store. I had to take it back. I had to apologize. I didn't know that the Yola set the example for me.
Mom and Dad were consistent.
What was your reaction to your siblings' birth? Do you remember any of your siblings when they were born, how you felt, or what the reaction was?
I remember the night Art was born, I wet the bed. And we were living in that little tiny house where it had the outdoor toilet, I think. And I was 5.
Did you kids all hear that? They were living in a house with an outdoor toilet.
It was December. I was born in December. So an outdoor toilet in December is really cool.
Except you always had a chamber pot, which you were supposed to use.
What?
You had a chamber pot. We had a chamber pot.
In the outdoor toilet?
No, in the house.
In the house? We did?
You better explain
Life
what
would
that
have been so
means
much
now.
better.
How about you guys? Do you remember any of your siblings' birth? What was something that might have been memorable about when you had another sibling born?
The only one that was born after
She needs to be here.
Eola. Well,
She was 2 years.
everybody except
Do you remember when Laird was born? They broke his
Dan, do you have a phone you could hold down here?
He broke his collarbone when he was born?
No, the doctor.
The doctor did.
I do remember that. That was talked about, but
We thought he had cancer
Where?
because he was screaming.
Oh.
I cried more than any other child, apparently. Anytime they tried to pick me up, I had so much shoulder pain, and they assumed, probably rightly so, that the nurse dropped me and broke my collarbones when it happened.
From the doctor, which
This explains a lot.
Dummer, the doctor, said my mother was usually
And about, I don't know how old I was, but I do have a letter from the doctor.
Crazy letter. Crazy.
From a doctor that, they took me into this doctor years later, months later, I don't know how old it was, to see if I had cancers of the collarbones, and because I had a lot of calcium buildup, and the letter indicates that there was no cancer, it was just calcium buildup. Let's see, I had a memory of, what was I gonna say, memory of birth?
Yours? Or what?
I don't remember anything about your
I
birth.
was in
I'm
college
sorry.
when, when Jana was born. I was in college.
You were in
Yes,
college.
yeah.
How was that though, hearing that your mom was going to have another baby
Oh, I
at
thought it was
45?
exciting.
I'm not sure mom.
I felt the same way. I know, I read her journal and I kept thinking, oh, maybe I'll finally figure out how she really felt at being pregnant at 45. But, no, she didn't say a thing.
Did you have any nicknames for each other?
No,
5 years.
our folks spoke.
They
6
didn't
years.
believe in nicknames.
I had a number of nicknames, but my primary nickname was Art.
We have the same. 5 years. She's a year younger than
I'm a little bit bitter about this. Did you ever date one of your siblings' friends?
date.
Date or
I brought,
I think the phenomenon Laird described probably would preclude that, or pretty widely
two
separated.
separate, two spread apart?
But
Viola and I
You
were
and Viola.
close.
Yeah, Viola, Mavis and I. were
Yeah,
Let me think
married
about
first.
that.
yeah. Did you ever date anybody still a boyfriend?
What?
Anybody still, any of the sisters still somebody else's boyfriend?
Oh, you mean, siblings? boyfriend?
Yes.
No, but I got an awful one.
Well, I probably dated all of Jan's friends.
Don't you mean both of them?
Quit telling my story.
What impresses you most about your siblings' achievements?
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, amen to that.
I appreciate the Laird because he is such a great person. Just the best there is. He's by far, in my mind, the best son my parents ever had.
I say the same thing about him.
But they all contributed a lot to us.
We learned from all of them. I had the advantage, I think, because I had all of them to help raise me. But I do remember one time talking to Uncle Richard Hanks after I was married and had probably 3 or 4 kids, and I don't remember what we were talking about at the time, but I finally realized then that no matter how old I got, I was always going to be the youngest. And I was always going to know less than everyone else who had already experienced everything else. So I was never going to catch up to what they knew. And so I finally had to accept those terms, that I was always going to be the littlest Dummer.
So she became the best.
What was a favorite game you guys played as siblings growing up?
I don't remember the
Rook.
favorite, but
Kick the can.
Rook?
I
Kick the can?
remember some ones I hated.
Some ones you hated.
My mother would, through my childhood, would always like to compare her grip to mine. So she'd do that by, we both reach up, hold a broom handle and pull it down, and the one who slipped lost. I don't think I ever won it, even when I was a high school athlete. I know I built a lot more cows.
I do remember my mother with what she called the little twig thing, the switch, the little switch, yes. When I'd get in trouble, she'd say, she would want to, she never laid a hand on me, but she had this switch that she would tickle my legs. What's wrong with my legs? And I remember one time that I finally realized that I ran ahead of her because I knew I was in trouble and she was going for the switch. And the switch was always on top of the refrigerator. So I ran in the house and climbed up on the table and grabbed the switch and ran in her bedroom and locked the door. And then she finally, and that was the last time she ever tried it after that. Did you guys ever get that?
Oh, my goodness, yes.
Wow, Arthur must never have gotten it, because he was the,
No, I got switched
You
a
got a
few
belt.
times.
I remember you got belted.
Yeah.
I remember probably the same incident.
what, with the belt?
Did you get belted more than once?
I'm sure. Yeah, because
I'm sure you did.
the one I remember, you weren't born yet.
Oh.
I remember one
We
that was
survived.
pretty traumatic for me as a young kid.
These kids would never know what that was.
I've got a belt if you want to teach them. I'll lend it to you.
No, I need one.
No, it wasn't the belt, I thought it was the razor strap
Huh?
that was used.
The belt.
It wasn't, it was a
The
belt.
belt, but it was not there.
No, it wasn't.
So if you
It
guys,
depends upon you.
Didn't happen to me at all.
I know, you were the angel.
So Mike wants to know if you remember when you were younger a goat wagon that your mom had and riding on the wagon?
A goat wagon.
A goat wagon.
A wagon with goats in it.
Well,
That
there's
they
a
pull.
picture of it, but I was too young to remember much of it. Yeah, there's two of us in the wagon,
Two of
maybe
You
your
and
mother
Mom,
and I.
He knows that picture.
Picture, huh?
Doug, thanks for bringing
I
that
want a
up. That's
copy.
cool. Good, go ahead.
Oh, you don't have a copy of
I
it?
don't have a copy of it.
Maybe the sisters, maybe the sisters have it.
Oh.
So if you were in prison, which sibling are you gonna call to get you out?
Any of them?
I think probably Nola.
I'll leave you there.
She's the most stubborn person. She'd never give up.
No, I would call Laird, because I think he's been there before.
Wait, is that true?
You mean trying to get another sibling out of jail? That's what you mean, been there before?
Yeah.
Trying to get another
No,
sibling out of jail?
Just knew that he would have, yeah, no. It's an experience with that, you know, at least know where to find it.
I worked in a jail-like experience in my past life. I'm sure that's what she's referring to.
I did get arrested one time though.
Do tell.
When I was young, I spent many years sort of shagging milk for Young Dairy. Remember President Young? And he had an assistant named Lex Cranny.
Oh,
Cranny.
Granny.
Kind of not a very, it's a worse name than Dummer. But, we'd go around to the stores and deliver milk, and the stores would have comic books on their shelves. Comic books were what we read mostly in those days.
Oh, yeah, I remember you were really addicted.
I know, that's where I learned to read. And they tear the cover off a particular comic book if they wanted to order more and send it to the publisher. So they save the coverless comic books and give them to me. Well, I had accumulated about 6 coverless comic books, and Georgia will understand this. I forgot and left them in Lex's truck. So I went over to his truck, about midnight to get the comic books, and the police caught me, took me down, booked me, fingerprinted me. So I have a record starting at age 12.
Your mother and dad had to come and get you.
Yes,
They
I
died
think
with
they
you.
probably
I
did.
believe you're
they
right.
had to come get me.
To get you out, get me out of jail?
No, to get me out. I'll tell my story.
Oh
I don't think I ever got fingerprinted though. When I was a teenager, goofing off with friends, as one often does, it was kind of common to sort of drag State Street in Burley. You had this big long street to drag, at least 4 blocks long. So we were down there goofing around, and there was a pickup came by of some people that I sort of knew, and as they drove by, I just jumped in the back of their pickup. And they were too excited about me being in the back of their pickup. So they slammed on the brakes and they jumped out of the car, and there were like 4 of them. And they were coming after me. Well, it just so happened the pickup had a pitchfork in the back. So I grabbed the pitchfork and I'm pointing this pitchfork at these guys. So they
Just
won't-
farmer kids,
You're gonna have a pitchfork in the back
They're
of your
lucky they didn't have a rifle in the back.
They wanted his money, right?
Yeah.
Did they say fork it over?
I think they wanted of my life when I wasn't gonna fork it over, but I was charged, you know, with a dangerous weapon in hand. I was taken to the police station. And, my dad had to come down to get me. And, I had explained my story to the officers, which they didn't believe too much. And, but my dad came down, and he heard my story, and he believed me. And so he got quite angry at the police officers for taking me into custody for that reason. And I always remember him supporting me on that. But that's my story about getting arrested.
On a similar vein, we used to go to ice cream. We lived on Milner, wasn't it? Miller?
Miller?
Miller. Have to go across the football field to get over to the ice cream store. Oh yeah, that's what it was, right. So there used to be some bullies from north side of the town that would hang out in the bleachers, and they would intimidate me. I'd make me cry. And so one day, Mom decided to get involved. She picked up a 2x4. She went over there, started swinging it. They scattered and never came back.
Oh, Grandma!
You were side bleacher bullies.
Not her hair. Does anybody have any other questions that they want to shoot at these guys before we make them do a task?
I do. I want Laird to tell us about when he lost his eye.
Okay. Well, I was 10 years old, and we were playing in the neighborhood with neighbor kids. And we were playing with different kinds of things, and one of the things we were playing with is that one of the kids had a bow and some arrows, practice arrows, target arrows, metal head arrows, if you will. And we were playing ante-eye over with a ball. You guys know what ante-eye over is? So the houses were square houses and straight roofs, and so you'd throw something like a baseball over the roof, and the other people on this other side would catch it, and if they caught it, then they'd run around and try to throw it at you and hit you, and if they hit you, you were out of the game.
And the ante-eye over came. As you threw it, you said ante-eye over, and then they knew that it was
And then
coming.
it was coming over, yeah, associated with
Do you have
that.
any idea why you said Andy?
Anti, it's A-N-C-E, I think.
No, no.
Is it Annie?
It's A-N-I.
Huh?
It's A-N-I.
We always pronounced it Auntie.
Yes. Well, anyway, moving on. Heaven forbid you argue about how to pronounce something.
Anyway, so we were also kind of doing that with these bow and arrows, if you will, shooting them over there. And then we just set them down and left them, and we went to play baseball. And I was playing catcher, and the other 10-year-old boy was pitching, and he had a 5-year-old brother. And the 5-year-old brother had picked up the bow and arrow that we had left laying around. And he was out standing out by the pitcher, and as his brother was throwing the ball in, he decided to shoot the arrow the same direction his brother was shooting the arrow. And so I put the mitt up to catch the ball and pulled it down and caught the arrow right in the eye. Didn't even hit my eyelid at all. There's no blood at all. Just hit the eyeball directly. And so it was pretty well destroyed in that process. And that's kind of how I lost the eye.
I remember the day.
Me too.
Were you?
I was at BYU.
Were you? I was playing I was over at my friend's house, and the thing I remember is that mother being very upset, but I was really excited because I got to stay with my friend. And the other thing I remember is that when the Kings, who owned M.H. King Company, lived across the street from us, and when Laird came back from the hospital, they brought things over for him to do. And they brought the coolest little crystal clear like a Legos things. Do you remember those?
I guess I do.
Yeah, that he could build things with, and I thought it was pretty neat because he got spoiled. I just got the fringes of that.
Such a caring sister.
You know, think of the good things.
How did your parents, what was their example through difficulties like that, through, you know, traumatic experiences or difficulties? How did your parents weather those things?
Very calmly and very,
Because you all seemed to, you all seemed,
Rationally,
yeah.
rationally, always rationally. One of the great things I appreciate about Dad is how scientific he was. He didn't mess with sort of quacky people.
Or
If you-
concepts, huh?
Yeah, if you just wanted to get something done, he did it in an appropriate way. The other thing about Dad that is unforgettable to me is his tolerance. He was just so tolerant.
Yes, he was. You didn't ever hear
If
him.
Mom would say something about
Yeah.
somebody that might be considered a little criticism, he'd say, well, you have to think of it this way, you know. He's always,
He was very tolerant.
You didn't ever hear him talk bad about people. And he didn't really tolerate that. He'd get upset with anybody else that would do that also. And in fact, the reason that my Amy is named Amy is because he was also very cautious about giving an opinion, I think, on some things. And when Amy was born, I was thinking about naming her Adria. But my dad mentioned that his grandmother's name was Amy. And that was so unusual for him to say something that gave that opinion. I knew that was special to him. And so that's the reason she's named Amy, because it was such a rare occasion for him to offer a voice and opinion like that, yeah, so I don't know if that's.
when I was a smart college freshman, Dad and I got into an argument about whether it's proper to say, in answer to a particular question, if somebody knocked on the door and he asked who it was, whether it's proper to say, it's me, or it's I. Now, with Mother, that would not be so unusual to argue, but with Dad, it was. And he argues, or he was much brighter and more educated than Mother was by far, but he would argue this way. You know, I tend to think it's so-and-so, it's I. And
He says, I know other people will say
Yeah.
and it's all right.
I was so adamant about that, I had to find a grammar book and look it up. And the grammar book,
I never can remember what it is.
the grammar book said the appropriate form is to say it is I, but be prepared to be ridiculed.
When we took Mother and Dad to Washington D.C., I remember that as we were driving around, that for 30 minutes, literally 30 minutes, they discussed between them whether it was the word either or either was the proper term to use in whatever they were talking about. And they discussed it for 30 minutes, and then about 20 minutes later, Dad would come out and say, well, I'm pretty sure that it's either. I never did figure that out, but yeah, they did discuss that.
well, they seem to must have had a cheery outlook in life, because they didn't let things, you know, like what happened to Laird, there's no woe is me, or, you know, there was no excuse to
I don't know about that.
feel sorry.
If I agree with that or not. I think that they kind of approached that way, but I never could quite, I always kind of thought of my mother as being quite pessimistic. Well, I don't, because, maybe it's because she was always trying to teach me by telling me all of the bad things that were gonna happen. So, you know, this could happen or this could happen, and so I always.
Maybe that's because that's after what happened to Laird.
Yeah, eventually, yeah, that's
PTSD.
right, I was the last of 6 after all. Yeah, so I remember thinking, I wasn't sure how we ended up with so many optimistic children raised by maybe by a mother who looked at things, I thought, looked at things as the worst thing that could happen.
Yeah. Sometimes the older you get, the more you think.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question for my fellow siblings here. One of the things that I've wondered about all my life is how each of us developed such a strong self-confidence in our personalities.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know what my parents did to instill that in me, but I've been grateful. So why were they so successful in instilling that self-confidence in us?
I think we were born with it as they were.
I'd
I
answer,
think
but
it's
I'm
a
a little
heritage. You take
intimate.
these people.
I remember Arthur saying at my mother's funeral, one thing that I think hits it on the head, and that is that his mother always made him feel like he could accomplish anything.
But mother felt like that internally.
Yes, herself,
And
yes.
that's why I'm saying it's internal.
Well-
And I think all of these people have it. They have a lot of confidence.
But it comes from, I think, one of the things is, I asked my mother also one time
Overlooked.
about how she raised children that didn't argue.
Yes,
I never remembered my siblings
Because you were so
fighting
far
with each
spread
other.
apart.
I know that. But I said, but the older ones weren't, and I said, but did your kids fight? And she said, well, sometimes, but she said, how I dealt with it is when I would go into the room and they were fighting, I didn't know which one started it, so I just spanked them both. And so, I think but I never remember being compared. They never compared me or the siblings with someone else. They didn't expect that of them or ever belittle us for not doing something. They always would try to find something that we could be good at and encourage us to do that.
I remember when I finally learned that I couldn't control Arthur anymore.
You finally learned that
So
at
that's
that.
why I must have tried before. But I remember thinking, I guess he's not afraid of me anymore. Yeah, we fought some. Probably not when mother and dad were there.
Yeah.
You may have fought as, kids, but certainly not as adults, and I think that's
No.
even rare, in families when you have grown siblings that are trying to handle estates and, things like that. I
Yeah,
think
We are
that's
so
a
blessed to
great
have such a
example.
great relationship.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
the other thing we are blessed with is our parents didn't have anything. So I don't worry.
Oh, I don't know, I think.
Well,
Yes.
Because things were
That's
not-
right. They
Not
didn't, there were
material.
things, no, they didn't, but they
They
were
weren't
not that
material.
important to them, no. Other things were important, but not that.
And I think, Dad, you should tell a good story about when your dad thought you were disrespecting your mom.
Yeah, that story came to my mind when Art was talking about it. One time, I was outside playing in our yard, and my mother opened up her bedroom window and was talking to me outside where I was out there, and I don't know for what a conversation was, but I made the comment to her, I'm going over to so-and-so's house to play. And she said something to the effect, did you ask permission to do that? And she had a smile on her face. I said, and I knew she wanted me to say, Mother, may I, kind of thing, go over. And so I just kind of jokingly said, yep, I'm going over. That's okay, isn't it? No, I didn't say that, so I said, I'm going over. And so she challenged me again with that, with a big smile on her face, and I challenged her back with a big smile on my face. And my dad came around from the house with a board in his hand. And he said, you do not talk to your mother like that. And my mom yells from the window, hey, it's okay, Olene, we're just joking, we're just joking. I don't care if you're joking or not, you don't talk to your mother like that. And bang, I got hit with the board once, and it broke, fortunately. And that was it. So it was a great lesson on respecting my elders, especially my parents.
Did you ever get hit by dad?
Who, me? No. No, I never did. No, that was always Mother's job. And I do remember when I was about 12 or 13, when he finally came into my life. my dad, because I don't remember him really being, I mean, he was there, but mother was always the disciplinarian and always the person who would give assignments and whatever, and then until I was about 12 or 13, the mother kind of gave up on me. And so then dad comes in, and I remember thinking, who are you? Now you're trying to tell me what to do? You haven't been around, to tell me what to do before, because I was the little girl.
Let me say this real quick. I have 3 memories of my dad striking me, and there are only 3 in a lifetime. So,
Yeah, he was.
It was well deserved every time.
It was well deserved.
Now, when it came to cows, that's a different story. Oh, don't you remember the cows?
Well, one of my 3 had to do with the cows.
He would take out a board to the cows or to power tools. Or to power tools, yeah.
Well, the setup was so bad. They had the stanchions out in the middle of the field. And you had to go get the cow into that stanchion, and it was bad. And one time, there was, the lower part of the field was covered with ice, but just enough so that you'd break through. I chased the cow around trying to get in the stanchion. My mother interrupted me a little bit later, and I was wrestling around in the laundry room, and she said, "What are you doing out here?" I said, "I'm looking for the 22. She said, "What are you going to do?" "I'm going to kill that son of a bitch cow." She calmed me down.
I just remember that little barn we had out in the corral, and I just remember being in the house and that barn just shaking, just a moving, and hearing Dad and the cows bellowing and Dad bellowing, and
Well, we had Jersey cows, and they are temperamental.
are they?
Jersey
Funny,
Ides.
I've never heard her tell
Jersey
about
cows.
that.
That's funny.
The time I went for the 22, Mom had to tie me to the chair.
Same cow.
No, it wasn't a cow. It was, we had a dog that got shot by someone in the stomach, and then the dog was a pet of mine, and I had to be there with him. He had a slow death, so I was out in the garage, had to go to bed, and he was still alive. And in the morning when I woke up, the dog had died, and so I was mad at whoever shot him. And so I grabbed the 22. I was headed out the door to find out whoever shot my dog, they were going to get it. And Mom took the gun away, and she just tied me literally to the chair, and she said, "You're staying there till your dad gets home."
But I remember when Dad was older, Mother had already passed away, and he had a birdhouse out in front of his window there. And when I was in there one day, and he says, I'm looking for the shotgun, and I said, "What are you going to kill?" And he says, "Well, there's the neighbor's cat is after my birds." So I said, "I don't think we better find the shotgun for that."
After Mom died and Dad was in what he called an old folks home, I remember and there are a number of stories to tell about that, but one of them I think is kind of delightful. He'd been there for a year or so after
No,
Mother.
he didn't stay there that long. He was only there 9 months. But
Well, whatever it was.
Okay, but there a while.
He was there for a while, and I was sitting there talking to him, visiting to him. He says, "You know, I think I should go somewhere else." He said, "I don't have much of a future here." He was 96.
Yeah, I remember.
That's why he came to that conclusion.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, well.
Anybody else have a question?
That's probably nothing.
Laird has a story about a pocket knife.
Oh, okay, good.
Your
A
pocket
story about a
knife.
pocket knife?
That was the third. No, that was another experience of getting beat. Right with it. I have to tell them all.
About a pocket knife.
Pocket knife. Well, Dad had gone to some church activities in the evening, and he had asked. I don't know how old I was, but we were still living at the house by the cemetery. And he asked me if I would feed the cows, because he didn't have time to do them. He had to go to church meetings, probably young men, young women kind of meetings. And he came home later at 9 o'clock and asked me if I fed the cows, and I had forgotten to feed the cows. And I said, yeah, I did. So I lied to him. Well, about 4 in the morning, the cows who hadn't been fed were making their desires known by waking everybody up in the neighborhood, crying because they hadn't had any food. And so he went out and he could tell that they were not fed, and he knew then that I had lied to him associated with that. So he woke me up early in the morning. I don't know how it was, but it was before 6. Woke me up and confronted me with it, and so I confessed that I had lied. And so he said, well, what should I do to you? And I said, well, I guess I deserve the switch. And he handed me his pocket knife, which was a pretty good sized knife, and I was never allowed to touch that knife or to play with it. And he gave it to me, and he says, you need to go cut the switch. And I said, I gotta go cut the switch that I'm gonna get beat with? In my mind, you know. And so I had the experience of using this pocket knife, which I dearly cherished, and go out and cut my own switchboard. And then he took me in the house, and that's probably the worst beating, if you will, I ever got. And he grabbed me by the arm and says, this is gonna hurt me more than hurt you. And a few times around in the circles, I was dancing around and trying to avoid that.
You learned that dance too?
It's called the switch dance.
That's what I mean. Him holding you and you running around the street. I thought
You're the only one then.
But I didn't have a switch, I had the belt.
But I think we should not stop talking about Mother and Dad without talking about their teaching ability.
Oh, yeah.
And Richard just came and whispered in my ear and said, you ought to tell them about the time your dad blew the windows out of the school. So you know that story?
I don't think I've heard that story.
I haven't heard it
I
either.
have, but
He
go
was
ahead.
a new teacher in Burley High School. He was a chemistry teacher. And so he was there before school, cleaning out, getting the cupboard ready. And this particular teacher that was there before him had left everything in kind of a mess in the chemistry lab there where they were. And so he was cleaning out old bottles and things that had stuff in them. And he put this one bottle in the sink, and it hit the water, hit it, and I guess he was rinsing it out, and it exploded. And what would that chemical be that did that with water? I can't remember. What is it?
Sodium.
Sodium chloride or something, I think.
Yeah,
I remember.
okay, and so his new experience at the school as a new teacher was blowing the chemistry part.
Because the bottle had been mislabeled.
Yeah,
Yeah, it had been mislabeled.
That's his story anyway.
Yeah.
it hadn't been labeled at all, right.
Labeled it all.
It was a mason jar.
But they were great teachers, both of them.
Yep.
Well, that's why,
They were great teachers, always teaching, both of them.
Yeah.
And we were greatly blessed. with
that
them.
was their life, and that's why you talked about the characteristics that we have, is because we were taught well.